In a world where we believe every mystery of the past has already been solved, a shadow story still clings to the edges of history, one that refuses to disappear. It gained new attention when Graham Hancock sat across from Joe Rogan and described something astonishing: a map that should not exist. A map that showed coastlines hidden under ice, cities swallowed by rising seas, and traces of DNA that connect people across continents separated by thousands of miles of ocean. If even a fraction of this is true, the history we've been taught is not just incomplete, it's wrong. What you're about to hear might rewrite everything you thought you knew about our origins. Mainstream archaeology teaches us that humanity's first major oceanic migration was the Polynesian expansion around 3,000 years ago.
Seafaring adventure that is accepted by archaeology is called the Polynesian expansion, and it's a remarkable story.
These Polynesian explorers were extraordinary navigators.
And those Polynesians were amazing ocean navigators,
mastering the seas without compasses or modern technology. They read the stars, the movement of waves, and even bird flight patterns to discover tiny islands lost in the vast Pacific. They reached Easter Island, over 2,000 miles from South America and the nearest inhabited land. They brought enough people to start whole communities, returning again and again, proving humans could conquer the oceans with skill alone. But according to the textbooks, this was the very first time anyone ever dared such a journey. Before this, no one crossed the open seas. But what if that's not true? What if humanity's greatest era of exploration didn't happen 3,000 years ago, but closer to 12,000 years ago? And what if it was almost completely wiped away, leaving behind only fragments, cryptic maps, strange DNA signals, and ruins buried beneath the sea? Take Egypt as an example. 4,500 years ago, they already had massive seagoing vessels. Records described their voyages to Punt, thousands of miles away, bringing back exotic goods. Archaeologists admit these ships were capable of serious travel, and yet mainstream thinking insists their exploration stopped at the shores of Africa. Why? Because going further back is considered impossible. But Hancock argues the opposite. The evidence has simply been lost. When the last ice age ended, sea levels rose by nearly 400 feet. If there were advanced ports, bustling coastal cities, or even entire civilizations, they would now lie hidden under hundreds of feet of water. The silence in the record is not proof of absence. It's the price of drowning coastlines. And then come the genetic clues. In isolated tribes deep within the Amazon rainforest, researchers discovered DNA links to populations in Australia and the Pacific. How could that be? No known land route connects these regions. No migration patterns explain it. Multiple genetic studies have confirmed the anomaly, so much so that even cautious scientists admit it doesn't make sense. And yet, instead of digging deeper, mainstream historians dismiss it as impossible. Why? Because, they argue, no one was supposed to be crossing oceans 12,800 years ago. But the DNA whispers another story. Maybe someone did. Now, let's talk about maps. In 1513, the Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis drew a world map using more than 100 older charts. Only fragments survive, but what's there is shocking. It shows the coasts of South America, Africa, and, at the edge, an ice-free Antarctica, as if drawn 12,000 years ago. Piri Reis himself wrote that his sources came from the Library of Alexandria, which supposedly preserved knowledge from civilizations even older than Egypt. Modern radar mapping of Antarctica's bedrock beneath the ice reveals details eerily similar to what's on those ancient charts. How could cartographers in the 1500s know this unless they were copying maps from far more ancient times? Longitude is the key. Measuring latitude is simple. You only need the sun's height at noon. But longitude? That requires a highly accurate clock, the kind of chronometer our civilization didn't invent until the late 1700s. Before then, even the best sailors frequently ended up hundreds of miles off course. And yet, these mysterious ancient maps seem to have perfect longitude, as if created with technology beyond their supposed time. Hancock suggests only two possibilities: either a forgotten human technology from a lost Ice Age civilization, or something non-human. Perhaps orbital mapping, perhaps satellites, something far beyond a wooden compass. Another map Hancock highlights is the Pinkerton World Map of 1818. Even then, the South Pole was left blank, because our civilization hadn't discovered Antarctica until the following year. Yet maps from centuries earlier show Antarctica exactly where it should be, often ice-free, with mountain ranges and coastlines that match modern radar surveys. Some even depict Greenland's coastline under the ice, something only our most advanced tools have confirmed recently. Coincidence after coincidence begins to look like a pattern. And then there's the stone evidence. Off the Bahamas lies the Bimini Road, a formation of massive limestone blocks that look uncannily like an ancient roadway or seawall. Mainstream scholars call it natural. Divers like Hancock say it looks deliberate. Either way, here's the twist. The last time that area was above sea level was thousands of years ago. On Peary Rice's map, the same spot is shown as a large island with monolithic markers across its center. Sea level data says it hasn't been land since the Ice Age. Even if the Bimini Road is natural, the map places human eyes and hands there when no civilization was supposed to exist. So, what's the explanation? One possibility is that during the Ice Age, humanity did build a global civilization. Far more advanced than the hunter-gatherer image we're taught. They may have developed precision astronomy, timekeeping, and long-distance travel. They may have had methods of measuring longitude unknown to us today. But when the seas rose, their cities drowned. Survivors fled inland, their technology lost, leaving behind only fragments preserved in myths, maps, and oral traditions. If Ice Age humans had accurate clocks, or perhaps used Earth's magnetic fields as a natural guide, they could have drawn maps with stunning precision. They could have charted Antarctica without ice, because that's exactly how it looked then. Over time, their knowledge was copied and recopied, degraded, until scraps survived into the Renaissance. That version of history would mean our ancestors were capable of far more than we give them credit for, and that what we call progress may actually be rediscovery. The other explanation is even stranger. Perhaps these maps and anomalies don't come from forgotten humans at all, but from an intelligence beyond Earth. Visitors, surveyors, or watchers. They wouldn't need ships or compasses. They could map the Earth from orbit using technology far beyond ours. They could move human groups across oceans, leaving genetic fingerprints like the Amazon-Australia connection. They could seed knowledge of agriculture, astronomy, and architecture, explaining why megalithic structures appear worldwide with similar designs. Think about it. Every culture has a flood story. Plato's Atlantis, Mesopotamian flood myths, Indian epics, Native American legends. When you align those myths with actual sea level rise at the end of the Ice Age, the timing matches almost perfectly. What if these aren't just stories, but memories? Memories of cities swallowed by the sea. Memories of sailors watching their harbors vanish beneath rising waters. Memories of a world that ended. So, what do you think? Do these maps, ruins, and genetic markers reveal the fingerprints of a forgotten human civilization, or hints of something far older, stranger, and maybe not human at all? Are we staring at echoes of a lost world, or at the first proof that we were never alone? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering hidden histories and forbidden archaeology with us, make sure to like this video and subscribe. There are still secrets waiting to be revealed, and you don't want to miss the next